Yeah, and we're live now. It's the Mindstate Marketing Hour with Will Leach. He's our favorite author from our favorite book. And if you haven't read his book, Marketing the Mind States, then you're missing out. But if you have read it, then you know we're in for a good show today. Will, how's it going, brother?
It's going okay. How are you today, Steve?
I'm excellent. Looking forward to this as usual. So let's talk about what we're going to talk about. How to create amazing customer service experience in 30 seconds. Is that like if you can steal a car in 30 seconds, then you should be able to do this in 30 seconds.
Well,
No?
yeah, it really came from the time that I stole a car. And when the police officer grabbed me, I was like, how do I get out of this situation? And in 30 seconds, no. But you know where it does come from was, we've talked about customer service, or at least customer experience on this before. But I had a conversation with a student who reached out, and in that conversation, we were talking about kind of customer service calls and specifically customer service, like one-to-one interactions, whether that's by a register or a chat or on a phone call. And I was thinking to myself, I want to bring something new to it. I didn't want to just say, well, here are the 5 things you should do, because frankly, we kind of already know some of the 5 things. So I started thinking about if I had the first 30 seconds or the first 2 minutes, what would I do specifically to make sure that the remainder of the call worked in my favor? So we sat down and kind of were talking a couple of things I would do. And after that, I thought, you know what? This is enough to start a nice little Mindstate Marketing Hour with. And so I'm going to share with you my thoughts.
Well, excellent. Well, let's talk about the book right quick. If you haven't read Will's book, you need to. So it's right here over my head. Mm-hmm. I did it right this time.
Like it.
Okay, how about that? So the thing that I really loved about this book is it really helped me connect the dots, how important it is that not only do you write content for your persona, but you should write content that really captures the state of mind that they are in when they're evaluating a product like yours. So in the case of my agency, my persona is what we call cautious achievement mind state. And it means that they're going to achieve this no matter what. We're entrepreneurs. That's what we do. We're going to get in there and it's going to be messy, but we're going to figure it out. And I'm going to make it with or without you. How nice, though, would it be if I ran into someone that helped me avoid all the ditches, helped me avoid wasting time, wasting money? And that's a cautious achievement mind state. And we started to address our content, and I think it really resonates with them much better.
I also have a similar mind state, but I'm actually slightly different. My agency is focused on optimistic empowerment. And what I try to do is communicate to people who come to me that, the world is very complex and business is kind of, many times I feel like I'm out of control. How can I gain more control out of my business? And so that is called the optimistic empowerment mind state. So to your point that you just said, Steve, is that if you don't understand the mind state of your customer, you are always going to speak in a way that is suboptimal to their psychology. And we all know that our deep psychological needs are what really drive human behavior. So that's what we talk about in this show.
All right, excellent. So how does that tie into creating amazing customer service experience in 30 seconds?
Yep. If you are, in the United States today, right now that customer service is something that we all are hoping we can get whenever we go to a restaurant or whenever we go to a store, and oftentimes it's not what we get. Why? There's a lot of different reasons, lack of staff, lack of training, etc. But what I started thinking about was, when is the last time I've thought about or I've told somebody about a good customer experience? And the fact of the matter is, it's been a long time. I don't know if I can remember why or when. And that's not just because it doesn't happen. I'm sure it does. The issue is that we remember bad experiences more often. They're funner to talk about, in fact. So, naturally as human beings, we tend to remember bad experiences, especially when they're supposed to be good. We have these expectations that they're going to be good. And however, for whatever reason, they go bad. So if you're gonna want to make the transition in the first 30 seconds or maybe 2 minutes of your phone call, when somebody calls into your business and is seeking help, then I think the first thing you have to do is make a real human connection. And I know that the technology and people will tell you not to do this, but in a world where everybody is using technology to basically, get out of customers' ways and how to kind of, make our lives easier as business owners, you're losing real connection with your customers. So I think it's incredibly important to think about the customer experience through the human behavior lens and the human psychology lens. And you can do some really cool things in the first 2 or 3 questions you ask that will set you up for success for the remainder of your experience.
I think of our world, marketing, business was like super industrialized after the Second World War.
Yeah.
You've got a job, get in line, march along with everyone else. But as time went on, we need to customize this job description to be more personal and fit the strengths of that person. And in the same way, our marketing message, our customer experiences, we've been kind of indoctrinated to be very formal. But really, I think brands that really connect on scale is how they create experiences that feel personal, less formal, more understanding of me.
Yeah. And, we see it everywhere. I actually had a conversation with another author yesterday from the United Kingdom, and he had said something almost identical. Since World War II, all of this has been happening. And he looks at the art history, and it's pretty interesting way of looking at the world. But we got into this conversation about even going to your grocery store now or a Walmart, where because technology allows people to self-checkout, but how many times have you actually heard people really enjoy that? A lot of people don't enjoy that, especially, people who have, a little bit older and kind of like the human-to-human interaction of knowing your checkout, clerk or whatever. And, for efficiency purposes, I think we're getting farther and farther away from what truly people really, really want, which is connection. And if you could do that, it's going to differentiate you, right? It's just going to differentiate you in a world where everybody is trying to get farther away from their customer.
So optimizing your style for your customers, talk to us about this.
Yeah, so here's the idea that what I want you to consider is that when your customer calls you, that they're in a specific mind state. And we talk about these mind states in my book, Marketing to Mind States. Now, the reason why you want to optimize to a psychological mind state is that it makes people feel amazing. And when they feel like they've been heard, when they feel like they are understood, customers want to interact with you. They will talk more about you in positive ways, right? So the idea here is that if you're starting to think around your head around how do I optimize the first 30 seconds of a call so that this person feels connection and that they're heard, and I can do that using psychological marketing and marketing to mind states principles, then you're going to create this amazing experience that feels good. And in the world of business, real human connections that feel good are differentiated. It's the world that we live in. So how do we do that in a very, very easy, basically 4-step process?
All right. What's step 1?
Okay. So this is going to be contrary to what a lot of beliefs are out there, because there's entire industries out there that are trying to make efficiency the number one thing you want as a company, which means get off the phone as fast as you can. So they have automated scripts, they have automated do-it-yourself things, so you can get to the problem quicker without actually asking people what the problem is. What I would suggest to you, this is absolutely the wrong thing to do if you're trying to make a human connection. So what you need to consider is start by asking for the full story to get at the full issue. Why? When people, so let's say somebody calls you up and say, hey, hello, how can I help you? Let them tell the full story, because that full story builds empathy on your part as the person on the other line. You're learning more about the situation. Even if they tell you the same situation twice, you're learning more about that situation. And you're also building rapport. When people, it's like when you're going on a date, and you feel like you can talk and you can just keep talking, you feel like there's a greater attraction. Remember the whole idea on a date, oftentimes on a first date, is let the other person talk the most, and then they will feel like they were so understood and that you're so engaging. Why? It's because they heard themselves talk most of the time, and hearing yourself talk is actually pretty exciting. It feels like you're being heard. So let people talk. And so here's a question I want you to ask. It's right here. All you have to do is say, tell me what's going on and how can I help you? It's not just saying, how can I help you, but just saying, tell me what's going on. And that's a very open-ended question. And again, I know it goes, counter to what most people would say, which is like, no, get them off the phone as fast as you can. By letting people explain the situation and then what they think the solution is going to help you build that rapport, and it's going to help you build that empathy, which you need for your future 30 seconds. So what I want you to really consider when people answer this, it's really, I want you to consider actively listening. So, because what they're going to do is they're going to tell you what their true desire is and how they think you can help them reach their desire. And guys, if you're in any kind of business, that is everything you want to know from your customer. What is their true desire? And what is it that they think you can do to help them reach that true desire? So be very open-ended. Say, hey, tell me what's going on and how can I help you? And so, that's the first thing I want you to do. And the second thing I want you to do is take exact notes when you're doing this, because the language is going to be very important in the next couple of steps. So I know you may not be word for word, but sit there and take down key words when you're doing this. Because what you're going to do later on, I'm going to show you, is how you're going to repeat those same exact words to make them know that they were understood. And it takes a little bit of practice, but guys, it's so important. So when you ask somebody, what they tell me what's going on and how can I help you, write down as many as the exact words as possible, because it's going to help you build that rapport.
So that means if you're going to ask them, tell me what's going on and how can I help you, you actually have to care. You're going to hear stuff that maybe doesn't feel right, but you have to have the confidence that it's okay. This is what separates you from all the other people that don't care or don't want to take the time to ask.
It is.
What's going on?
Yeah, I think what we do as customer service reps, and they've been taught, it's just try to get to the core problem as fast as you can. That we're not doing that. What we want to do is say, what's going on, and let them dance a little bit. And because you understand so much more context, and that human connection comes out then. And it's through that context that they feel like they're really heard. And I think what the problem is that so many training programs tell people just get to the core problem as quick as possible. So when people are kind of not talking about the core problem, customer service reps are looking for a solution already. They're already starting to think about, what am I going to say next? To your point is, just listen and actively listen for the exact words they're using, because again, it'll make a lot more. It'll give you something that's very powerful in the next 30 seconds after you capture those words.
So if we're wanting to identify what they truly desire, we got to be okay with just spending a little time and let them, they may say it 3 or 4 times in different ways.
That's right. So let's just say, for instance, in that step 1, you heard basically the core problem was, I have an unauthorized charge on my account and I don't want to pay for it. But those are the words that she uses, or he uses. I have an unauthorized charge on my account and I don't want to pay for it. That is the problem. And then that's a situation, and they desire to not pay for it. The next thing you want to do is think about, what is the true desire that they're looking for from your company. So in my book, Marketing to Mindstates, there are 9 desires that change, or I'm sorry, that influence every single decision people make. And so we talk about these 9 desires in the book in a lot of detail. Those desires are to feel successful, free or have freedom, to feel accepted, to feel more capable, to feel in control, to feel relief, to feel status, to feel cared for, and finally, to feel safe or secure. So what I want you to consider is the true need. Certainly, yes, she doesn't want to have an unauthorized, charge on her bill. But really what she wants is one of these 9 things. She wants to feel successful, free, accepted, capable, in control, relief, status, care, or secure. So all I want you to do now is think to yourself, and I want you to have these 9 words sitting by your phone. And as she's talking, just circle the one that you really hear. And you'll hear these things. For example, if she says, I have an unauthorized charge on my account and I don't want to pay for it. What she's really seeking, the desire, is most likely she wants to feel relieved that she's not going to be held accountable for that charge. So she seeks relief. She wants to go, oh, good, I'm not going to be charged, because you could probably hear through the tension that she has on the phone call. Maybe she can't afford that charge, or she doesn't think it's right? She doesn't feel like this is even being fair. So what she's doing, she's got this fear, she's got this tension. And what you need to know is that she's looking for relief. In this case, one of the 9 core motivations. All you have to do now is circle that and then write down, she's looking to feel relieved that she won't be held accountable for that charge. Write that down as best you can so that you can bring those words back up to her, so she will feel like she's listened to and that you actually get where she's coming from.
That's awesome. That's a great suggestion to have that where you kind of circle it. Mm-hmm. So what does that do? That means you're being quiet and you're trying to think about it, and you'll start to dial into maybe one of 3. Yep. In the meantime, what do they feel? Yep. They feel this person's not wanting to cut them off and get to the next step. That person's actually taking a little time to listen and care. Yep. And what's happening with you? I'm trying to confirm I'm getting to the area that she's really concerned about.
Yeah. And I think you got to trust your intuition. I mean, if you do this for a living and you're talking to customers all day long, whether you're a business owner or maybe you're a sales rep or whatever, you got to trust your intuition. You are actually identifying those desires, whether you know it or not. So you may look at these, and you may at first go, I'm not really sure. Give it a little bit of practice, and you're going to narrow it down to 1 or 2 very, very quickly. So for instance, if somebody's calling you up and they're not getting the full value of what they think they are, what they bought. Oh, she wants greater competence, meaning she wants skills. Awesome. So I'm going to help educate you on how to use my product better. Or if there's a fear that maybe she overpaid or that she wants a refund, she desires safety. She doesn't want to feel like she was taken advantage of. These things come up. They become very intuitive to you after a while. If you read the book and you really think about kind of any customer service call. In fact, I actually did this. I looked at 10 customer service calls and I was able to find 5. I think it was 5 different motivations, just like that, easily. Go, that's what that means. That's what that means. You could even go so far as to write out what are your core 10 calls that you get all the time. And frankly, you'd probably be pretty close if you took the time to say it's probably around, success. They want a much better outcome, or it might be around relief, or it might be around status. They want to feel like they're really understood and that they can get it to the next level. So it's not too hard to do, but take some practice and it'll get you to a really good place.
So I love this step 3 here, which is repeating back. There's a great book called Never Split the Difference.
Yeah, I read that a long time ago. Yep.
Okay. And so when you I forget the term that he calls it, but when you repeat back what you feel they're communicating and they finally go, that's it, then they feel understood. They feel listened to.
Yes, that I love it. I got to actually bring that. I haven't read that book in a while, but right. The reason why you are actually taking down their words is you want to play back their issue in their words. And just as you said, when you feel that somebody understands you, they're using the same words you use. So here's what I want you to do. Once you've taken down those notes and she or he is done with telling about their issue and what they desire, then just say, hey, can I play back what I've heard so that I completely understand the issue? Just ask them that. Can I play back what I've heard so I can completely understand the issue? And who's going to say no to that? Of course, they want to make sure, the person that wants to make sure that they've been heard. So they're going to say yes. Why that's good is that when you play it back using those words, in this case, it sounds like you have an unauthorized charge on your account and you don't want to pay for it. So you want to make sure that you're not held accountable for that charge. Did I hear you right? That right there, if you use those exact words that she used or he used, that creates a concept called familiarity effect. And familiarity effect is this: when you hear words that you again and again, they become more familiar to you. And since they are your words, they're even more familiar. and things that are familiar are safer. So there's already rapport being established because you're using safe words that she or he totally understands. So you want to do that. And the next thing you say, did I get this right? Why do you want this? So you ask them, hey, can I play back what I've heard so I completely understand the issue? And then once you've done it, say, did I get this right? Let them respond. Why that's important is, frankly, it's just good customer service because maybe you got something wrong. She goes, no, that's not my issue. Great. Go through the process again. That generally doesn't happen because you're so actively listening. Why you really ask, did I get this right, is you are giving them authority and status. Imagine a caller. For most circumstances, they're calling you because they feel like they have had something happen to them that wasn't right. And they're expecting some sort of conflict. That's just the world we live in today, where most people, when they call up a business and they have an issue with that business, they expect some sort of a conflict, even at the subconscious level. They don't want to do it. It's an awkward conversation. So by asking them, did I get this right? You just put the power into their hands and you created authority. You gave them authority, which is a huge thing to do. If you want somebody to build rapport, is you give them authority and you give them the hero status. They are now the hero because they are now in control of saying, yes, you did get this right, or no, I'm sorry, you didn't get it right. So ask, did I get this right? And make sure that you did.
Excellent. I love this. So now we want to come back with a confirmation.
And I'm glad this is up on the screen because this takes your two conversations and puts them into one sentence. So here's what I want you to do. If they say, yes, you got it right, or they acknowledge that you got the general situation right, then what you want to do is say these words. Rest assured, again, now you decrease any kind of sense of like kind of animosity or anger or tension. Say, rest assured that we will take care of this. Insert the issue. In this case was unauthorized charge to your account. So you can, and then you insert their desire. Rest assured that you're not going to be held accountable for it. So let me say that again. I want you to write it down if you're watching this or if you're listening to it. Say these words. Rest assured that we can take care, or that we will take care of this. Insert whatever issue they had so you can feel and insert that desire, one of those 9 motivations. You can rest assured that this will not be on your account. You're not going to be held accountable for it. When you do that, that brings everything together. You've given them authority. You've given them the feeling that they've been heard. You've given them the sense that there is a human connection, that you truly identify with their situation. So when you do that, all the tension out of the call is going to go out. That probably only took you 30 seconds, maybe a minute to get out. But when you do that, you've just set up the rest of your experience in a way to where she feels or he feels totally, totally in line with you, and they know that you're going to do the best thing for them.
Awesome. So then
the last thing, this is like a little hack, a little trick, but there's a lot of good research, in fact, around this idea. Tell them, because now it's time for you to solve the problem. So all you've been doing right now is just taking down the notes and making sure you understand the problem, you get their desire. Step 4 is tell them that you are actively working on this. So there's an interesting thing. So all you have to do is just say something like, I'm going to get to work on this right now. And what that does, it creates reciprocity. There's a sense of reciprocity that if somebody is acting on your behalf, that you feel this desire to act and do something nice for them. Again, you're creating rapport. If somebody's doing something for you, you also feel the desire to do something for them. It creates, even though you're not going to do anything for them, maybe you could thank them at the end of the call, if you're there on the line, but their sense of reciprocity creates, again, emotional engagement and connection with your company. So all you have to do is say, I'm going to get to work on this, and then start doing your thing. There's another interesting thing that happens. And this is an interesting thing that they found out through doing research when people have long wait times. So, the times when you're on a long wait time and you get frustrated, you get really, really mad because you're like, what is going on? It's been 30 minutes. I'm still on hold, or whatever. So a lot of people have done a lot of research in this space. And what they found is that when you are telling somebody that you're actively working hard, especially if you could use the word hard, I'm working hard on your issue, all that tension lowers because the person feels like you're acting on their behalf. Where this came up was there's some work in Domino's, the pizza chain, where you go online, order a Domino's pizza, and remember you used to have to wait 30 minutes or less or whatever, you get your pizza free. Well, that's no longer the case, right? It doesn't work that way. Now you may have to wait an hour for your pizza. It just is what it is. But the way that they're able to lower tension and people calling again and again is in their app. You can actually see the work that's being done. So if you haven't done that, order pizza on the online app. It tells you your pizza's being made, your pizza's in the oven, your pizza's out of the oven, your pizza's in the car getting to you. There are active steps that people look at and they feel like, wow, there's a lot of work happening behind the scenes on my pizza. That has lowered customer service, like angry customers to Domino's dramatically, because behind the scenes, you as a customer feel like there's a lot of people working on your behalf. So you're willing to wait 45 minutes because they're actively working for you, not for somebody else. Funny little small detail, but if you can say, I'm going to get to work on this, or you can say, wow, this is not an easy issue, so let me get to work on this. By saying it's hard, you're going to create a much greater sense of reciprocity. And again, they're going to think like you're working on their issue. They're going to feel great about it. And hopefully the entire experience is going to be much, much more enjoyable for them.
All right, now I'm working on challenges. When you think about the work that we do for our clients, whatever's in their head is in their head. Mm-hmm. And you may have told them, but your words don't mean the same thing in their head as what it means in your head. And so you have to show visually some aspect of what we're building, even though it's a virtual product that we're building. And so, some of our solutions is a teamwork project management software. Why? Well, it shows you where it is in the process, who's responsible for it. Now, some of that, basically what Domino's created was a way to include you in their project management of building out a pizza. And you think, how long does it take to build a pizza? Well, there's a lot more going on if you haven't worked at a pizza place.
I love that. That's a great point. And by integrating me into that process, you're not just thinking about the end deliverable, you're seeing all the other things. And imagine if you are doing 5 steps and then the customer only has one last step. It shows that there were 5 points where you knew that you were being worked on, if you will. I love that. That's a great idea. And it's really funny. It requires transparency, but also just requires just a little bit of human behavior and, psychology to realize that when people feel like they're being served, they're going to like you a lot better. So how do you show them? Show them your process. That's what Domino's does. And their customer service is now some of the highest rated customer service, even though their length of service times have increased. Why? They're bringing people into the process. And you can see the hard work that they're doing on your behalf as a customer.
Excellent. This has been excellent stuff. Well, so now guess what time it is?
I think I know. We've been doing this for a while now. We have our 3 questions or 4. I don't know how many we got today.
We got 3 today. And so what I love about this, and I'm getting to work on this. And so this is what I'm getting to work on this. But
I feel connected with you.
It used to be Steve ask the stupid questions, but now we get to take intelligent questions from the community. It's such a better experience. First one, you ready?
Yep, I'm ready.
What are consumer insights and how do I use them?
It's probably from some of our small businesses out there. All right, so consumer insight or a customer insight, you may have heard this term before. It is the information that you need to better understand your customers. It's probably as simple as that. That is an insight, understanding of what a customer need is. Now, why that's important and why do you use it as a small business is the more of these needs that you understand, whether they are, desire for customer service or a product or price or whatever, you can improve your products, your services, your program to meet those needs. And we buy products and services where our needs are being met. So ultimately, your goal is to align your company with the psychological need that your customer has, as well as the functional, like the thing that they need from you, the product, the service, the program. And when you can do both of those, you're going to create a great relationship with your customer and ultimately drive sales for your business.
All right, here's the next one. Hey, what are some great books, marketing books on psychology that can help me do a better job as a marketing director, I would assume?
I like this actually, because what we've heard before, what I've seen before is some good marketing books, but this is slightly different. This is some good psychology books that I can use in marketing. All right, marketing or great psychology and marketing books, great. So you can't see it over here, but I have my core books over here that I use a lot, and my whole background is in psychological marketing. So the first one I love is a book called Intuitive Marketing by Stephen Jenko. It can be a little bit heady, but guys, it's an amazing book of understanding the neurological sciences behind marketing. And it is full of references. So it's an incredible, it's almost like a resource you're going to use again and again. I use this book all the time. So great book. After that, here's another book, which I love, is Zag by Marty Neumeier. This is just more or less understanding psychology of people, and then he brings it to life in branding. So Zag is also a great book.
Show us that one again.
Oh yeah, Zag. It's a white cover and black words. Zag by Marty Neumeier. It's old and it's so short. It's a very simple book to read, but it's amazing. I keep it on my book for that. On my shelf right here for that reason. A third book is this guy, Marketing to Mind States. I better say my own book. Right. This has changed marketing because we're understanding how to message to people's psychological mind states, not the person, the mind state they're under when they make a decision. Very critical if you want to understand how to activate and use the words and visuals needed to create, much more engaging products. The fourth one here is a book called When. It's from Dan Pink. And I don't think of this book so much as a marketing book, but it's amazing because some of the principles he talks about in When from Dan Pink, some of those principles help you understand when to place messaging and how the importance of time in our lives. So it gives you a totally new way of thinking about marketing. And the last guy, if you don't know, and actually his books are back here, is a guy by the name of Martin Lindstrom. Martin Lindstrom is a psychologist that brings these things to life. I love his writing. I've got two of his books right back here. One of them is called Small Data. That's one of his latest books. And the other one is called Brand Sense. But Martin Lindstrom, anything from Martin Lindstrom is going to be a great book for you to read if you want to bring kind of psychology into marketing.
All right. And the last one here is how do you use customer journey in marketing?
Yeah, there's a lot of talk right now about customer journey and if you don't know, again, if you're a small business owner out there, you're not exactly sure what is a customer journey. All a customer journey is understanding and mapping a process from when the person, your customer, realizes they have a need of some kind to where they're advocating on your behalf, like the entire process, which would mean things like they understand they have a need, they look for information, they decide that they want to consider you, then they want to choose you, they buy from you, and then hopefully they're going to advocate on your behalf. They're going to talk to others about you. So there's a journey. They call that customer journey. And there's lots of different journeys. But all you have to really know is from the time I have a need to the time somebody actually talks to others about you, understanding that journey. Now, how do you use customer journey in mapping? How do you use customer journey in marketing? First thing you have to do, and we have a whole podcast about this, in fact, right? We've talked about this in the past. You first need to identify key trigger points in that journey where people make decisions, like real decisions, because there could be 30 different points. You don't want to work on the 30 points. You want to figure out where are those places where people really make decisions. After you identify those key trigger points, the next thing you want to do is look at each of those moments. It could be when I first look for information, when I'm on your website, and when I actually buy. Maybe those are the three. Now what I want you to do is think about each of those moments. What is the psychological mind state that somebody's under when they're in that moment, that key trigger point? You can learn from Marketing to Mind States how to do that by identifying their goals and then their motivations and then their approach. And you'll learn more about that in the book, Marketing to Mind States. You can now optimize that customer experience to fit with that trigger point. When you do that, people feel more aligned with you. They feel like you get them that you get them. They feel like you're intuitive and natural solution for them. And then the last thing to do is just fit the marketing and the customer experience according to the mind state. So if somebody desires success, make sure that moment when they're interacting on your website that they can feel successful and message to them so that they know that they will be successful if they keep taking action. You do that, you're going to get a lot more sales because it's been optimized for the customer journey. So that's kind of what you do with customer journeys and how you use them in marketing.
So this question popped in from Fabio Italiano. What do you think about not following a script? Sometimes when I get my issue repeated back to me, it feels mechanical and my brain goes, I'm talking to a bot and he or she is not going to deviate from script or policies. In other words, she is not going to be creative in solving my issue. Great question.
It is. Two things that come to mind. One is that you're probably more in the minority than you think you are, because we don't, honestly, when people talk back to us in those exact words. Now, if it's a bot, I'm gonna be careful on a bot. But if it's a live one-to-one interaction, the receiver of the information is not hearing every single word that you're saying. We don't do that as human beings. We listen to key words that we're looking for. So first off, I don't think as many people will literally know that you're repeating back the exact words. But if they do, they still feel like they are heard. Now, I would say this: if it's a chatbot and if you're using a chatbot to do this work, and I don't think that you should do that. I took that off of my own website, right? When you interact with me on my website, you're interacting with me. You're not interacting with anybody else. It's my text coming back to you. But if you're going to do that, if you're repeating the exact words, then absolutely it feels like a chatbot, right? It feels it can feel a little bit artificial. So just kind of switch it up a little bit. Maybe in this case that I gave you guys the example before where I said, oh, sounds like you had an unauthorized charge on your account and you don't want to pay for it. Well, you can paraphrase. The key words are unauthorized charge and that this idea that they don't want to pay for it. So you could say something, sounds like you have an unauthorized charge that you want to get off your bill. Unauthorized charge was the core message that they were trying to convey to you. That's their situation. And they didn't want to pay for it. You say, oh, I just want to take that off my bill. And they would still feel like they're heard. So I totally hear you. You have to use your intuition, a little bit of common sense, but the key words are actually really, really important. That's how they know that they've been listened to.
That's excellent. All right. So Will, this is a great episode. So tell us real quickly about your Mindstate Marketing Masterclass.
That's right, guys. So if you love behavioral psychology, you want to bring behavioral psychology into your business, I have a masterclass that you can jump in right now today if you wanted to. So here's the deal. You go to mindstategroup.com and you can go to our services page and we have a masterclass. Now the masterclass is about 12 hours worth of video content where we take you through the core principles in marketing to mind states, but we actually go deeper with video-based courses where I show you how to apply the concepts to a business called Wicked Crisps. So I've used this with my students for a number of years. It's a way of really understanding how to take these behavioral psychology principles and apply them into your business. So it's about 12 hours worth of do-it-yourself content. You can download different downloadable service things for you, like guidance principles, things like that, to help you apply the principles of Mindstate marketing to your business. Great do-it-yourself way of getting to the next level to get your customers to kind of listen, care, and act.
All right. Well, I'm Steve Brown, your host here on the Mindstate Marketing Hour. So can I play back what I've heard so I just completely understand the issue that you were addressing today, or do we have time?
We have time. Let's go.
So sounds like if I want to apply what I learned today, I need to go to mindstategroup.com and find where I can sign up for a class with you, Will, to learn how to apply it in my situation.
Well done. I feel like you get me, Steve. I feel like that you empathize with my situation. I feel like you understand me. And I'm going to tell everybody I can about your company. I love it.
That's awesome. It only took me like 45 episodes, but I'm getting there, I think. So you guys be sure to go get Will's book. If you don't have it, get it. It's an excellent book. Even someone like me can read and get all sorts of great stuff, even though it was written by this highly intelligent, brilliant, intellectual young man, Will Leach. Be sure to stay tuned next week for another episode of the Mindstate Marketing Hour. Go and learn more at the mindstategroup.com. Any last words of wisdom?
I do. Next week is going to be a special episode, I think, because we're going to talk less about behavioral psychology and more about the struggles of being an entrepreneur. I think we don't talk enough about this. So, Steve, you're going to talk a little bit more. I'm going to talk a little bit more. And we're going to, Steve is a great host. Steve feels understood now. We're going to talk about being entrepreneurs and not the great success stories. We're going to talk about the things you're going to have to go through. So if you're an entrepreneur out there, you're a small business owner, I want you to share some of your struggles, because we're going to talk a lot about those struggles and just give a more realistic view and a lens of what it really takes to be successful as an entrepreneur. And sometimes it can be ugly. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to maybe even get you to cry. I'm going to try to get you to cry, Steve, if I can. I'm going to see what I can do.
It's so easy to get me cry. I cried during little cartoons. I don't know what, where the dog slips on the ice and falls in, and everybody's worried. I tear up.
I'm with you. I tear up at Avengers movies, man. I'm like, man, I can't believe Tony Stark is done. Yeah. So, but we're gonna cry for some good reasons. We'll see. But yeah, it's gonna be a special episode. I really want to get into and talk a little bit more about being an entrepreneur and really what it takes and some of the struggles we all feel. So I'll probably share some stories. You'll share some stories, and it's going to be cathartic, I hope.
Thanks, Kenny, for making that comment. Being a great host means that you have to have a great guest that you work with. So we'll each back to you. I appreciate it. So, all right, stay tuned, guys. We'll see you next week. And that's a wrap.
Thanks, guys.
Oh, I got to do that. Outgo. Here's great host time. I got to stand up. Your team has done great work here. Here we go. Well, here goes the outro. Bum, bum, bum. Go to mindstategroup.com. Learn more. Get Will's book. Be a winner. And that's a wrap.